The mysteries of the world. Cryptozoology.
Are we on?
We are on.
Oh, hi guys. I guess we're on.
I wanted to throw a fun little intro there.
I like fun little intros, especially if I'm not expecting it.
All right, you guys voted, and we got Cryptozoology for episode 5.
Cryptozoology. I'm excited about that one.
All right. Okay, so remember how I made a joke about cryptozoology and cryptocurrency?
Yes.
Turns out I was way off on what crypto meant.
Ah, yeah.
It means hidden.
Dun, dun, dun.
So it literally means hidden animal.
Yes.
So I felt kind of dumb about that. But it was kind of cool thing to learn. So it's not really like mythology or, make-believe.
No, it's just
creatures. It is these animals are hidden and we can't have proof of them because they're so hidden and stuff like that.
Yeah, and a lot of them come from folklore or myths or, unexplained experiences.
Yeah.
Which all are super cool. Personally, I did a bunch of research back in the day. Probably, I'm 29 now. Probably a good 10 years ago. I did a bunch of research. Like I was telling you, I almost had I was basically getting a book ready with all these different cryptids.
Really?
So, hopefully I retain some of that information as we go into this conversation.
All right. Well, guys, welcome to another episode of Brothers by Law podcast. We are your hosts, Jeffrey Stiff.
Thomas Bowman.
And we are going to talk about cryptocurrency, as you can tell from the whole intro.
Yes. So, wait, currency or
cryptozoology? My bad. I said cryptocurrency earlier.
Cryptozoology. We're just like switching up on me. Like, wait,
wait a second.
Why not both?
You got to catch me. I've been doing that on and off all week while I was like talking about the topic to my wife. I'm like, oh, geez, I got to not do that.
Because, I mean, some may say Bitcoin is a cryptid.
Some may
Can't
say
be
it's
proven.
not. All right. So I'm going to just go off on a thing and say that I have never been one to believe in these creatures, but
right.
I have had a fascination with a few of them.
Okay. What ones?
Okay, so my absolute favorite, ever since I was a child, was dragons.
Okay.
Which I wasn't sure if it fell under this category because it seems to be really heavily disproven and stuff. But from what I've seen a few websites, they actually are still classified as cryptozoology animals.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh sweet, yes, I can talk about dragons because I love dragons.
Yeah. It just depends on who you talk to, really. I think a lot of different people will say a different thing, but in my opinion, if it's a creature or something that's not proven but it's potential, I think that would count. I mean, like zombies, vampires, werewolves.
I saw them.
Some people don't. Well,
Huh.
Some people, I think it's all in the matter of who you are, what you think. Type
Okay.
deal. That's sort of my take on it.
I was gonna say because zombies seem more like a dead human kind of thing versus a creature.
Yeah, but
But I guess that you can say the same thing about vampires.
Yeah. Like I said, I think it's more of a what you think personally.
So
everyone will take it differently.
What's your favorite zoology animal?
The Kraken.
The Kraken?
I love the Kraken.
Okay.
He's up in so many different stories, like Greek mythology, I think.
Okay.
I don't know, a bunch of different movies, series, books, this and that. Like the Kraken, this hidden creature in the ocean that will just, release the Kraken. Here he comes, tears apart ships. It's like the coolest freaking thing ever. And then, I don't know. It's a cool concept. And the fact that the world's oceans are like 85% undiscovered or explored.
Yeah.
Leaves the potential for the Kraken.
So it's funny because you say that because the Kraken's been proven to be real, right? Maybe they don't call it the Kraken, but like the giant squid.
Like the giant squids and stuff. It's potentially that could be the Kraken, or what people were thinking is the Kraken.
So right before this, or not like right before this, but like a few days ago, I actually sat there and was watching a video, and they did say the Kraken was proven, but it's variations of just giant squid and things that they've discovered.
Mhm.
They said it was once called the Kraken, now, but I mean, people might still classify it as the Kraken as something completely different or bigger,
Yeah.
massive.
Like I said, a lot of it, I don't know. I think the Kraken just the coolest I think of. It's just
I was just thinking like Godzilla.
yeah.
But Godzilla, I don't think, no.
I don't. I mean, depends on where you're from.
Okay, so like I said, cryptozoology is something I've never really believed in, but you have a past with it.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of potential. I think I think a lot of it's just sort of maybe like
That's my heat.
Oh. Does it come from? I was like, is that the headphones?
Yeah, so we're in a different spot this time, and the heat's like right behind you, which I can go ahead and shut off for right now.
No, it don't matter. It just threw me off. I thought it was like the
I
headphones.
actually was debating if that was gonna go off.
But I think a lot of the stuff is real, but not in the sense of it's real what they're saying it is, but it's real as something else. Like, it can be explained.
Okay.
I like the idea that there's these things that we can't explain, but I also curious to see what it actually is and having it explained in a logical sense. I'm mixed. Like, I want them to be real, but at the same time, I know most of them can be proven logically to be something that's not what it is.
Is there any of them that you would think is probably real?
I think, like, honestly, Yeti, Bigfoot scenarios, I think there's potential. I think there's also potential for it to be more like a mistaken identity type crisis, but I think there is potential for like the Yeti or any of the sea type ones, like Loch Ness, the Kraken, which the thing like the big
You
squids.
said C-type. What does that mean?
Well, this aquatic ones.
Oh, C. Oh, I was thinking the letter C.
Oh no,
I'm being dumb.
aquatic ones. I think there's potential for those, since like I said before, 85% of our oceans and seas are unexplored.
Okay.
Who knows what's lying down there? And I think there's potential for those.
So you don't necessarily believe, but you think there's a possibility.
Yeah, I think there's potential.
Okay.
And I think maybe like Bigfoot Yeti, it might be some species maybe that maybe sort of more evolved species from something we know, but that has just not been discovered or maybe is extinct.
Okay.
Because if you think about it, there's all these extinct animals around right now where there's only a few of them, we don't see them.
Yeah.
But when we do, it's like, oh, hey, there's that extinct whatever. There's that potential there. Too, I think like Yeti, they're high up in the Himalayas. How many people are out just walking the Himalayas?
True.
So I'm thinking there's potential for these things to be maybe an endangered species. Maybe not what we know as the Yeti, like a giant, scary snow monster, but more of maybe a species of bear or gorilla type thing that's sort of,
Yeah.
just
so you're thinking like
extinct-ish.
maybe not exactly what we think it is, but something down the line.
it could be explained of what it is.
I gotcha. There's two that I used to believe firmly, but as I've gotten older, I'm like, nah, they're probably fake.
Ones.
Like hardcore. Like Loch Ness Monster was like one that I was like, yeah, it's probably like some dinosaur or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
Long lost dinosaur. That was like the big rumor that kind of went around.
Yeah.
And then the other one was El Chupacabra.
Chupacabra.
Yeah.
Ooh, that one's a fun one.
And I believed that one for a long time. But then again, as I got older, I'm just like, yeah, it's probably just complete baloney.
Yeah. I remember watching some series about some documentaries and like the hunters, like the cryptid hunters that they got like the searching for Bigfoot, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I can't remember what the show was called, but they basically go out and try to prove these or disprove these.
Oh, okay.
I was real big into that show way back when, and I think it was either them or maybe a different documentary about the Chupacabra, which one of the sort of conclusions that was sort of brought up was it could have just been like rabid dogs or like wolves or something, like just like not like a normal dog but like
Yeah, I got
creature,
you.
but just something that's been through the years and maybe be sort of on some disease type stuff.
That's interesting. Like I never thought of
Because
that before.
that's out South America, Central South America, Puerto Rico, stuff like that. All that these sort of lower places, like you think about like Mexico and stuff. They're not the greatest of countries in a sense, but like they have a lot of poverty type deal, and like a lot of the, you hear the stories about the dogs down there and stuff like that.
I personally haven't, but I also don't. I'm not well educated in.
This is one of those things. Like there's just stories I've heard, or hear this and that. Like we had a rabid dog that's just been sort of going back towards its animalistic.
So you think dogs are probably the chupacabra?
Potentially
just like
an option for it.
Okay.
It is a fun one though. They're all fun.
So way back in the day, I did a video with my buddies where we tried to hunt down Bigfoot, or not Bigfoot, but Bigfoot, Sasquatch.
Mm-hmm. Bigfoot,
which
Sasquatch.
Are they exactly the same, or?
Yeah, there's just a different name for it
Okay,
for different areas it's in.
Okay. Yeah, so we did a video of that, and it was just us goofing off, going through our park, going through the woods trying to find this thing, and towards the end, we just started dying one by one. We're like, oh, Sasquatch got him. Oh, jeez. Oh,
that
no.
is awesome.
We're just running around screaming. Oh, the poor people at the park, they probably like, man, what the hell's wrong with these people? But
yeah.
that was one of the few projects that actually did that kind of got me anywhere remotely interested in cryptozoology.
Yeah.
So you said at one time you did you wrote a book?
Let's say I didn't write a book. I was sort of
create one?
basically, I had, just pages upon pages of Word documents on the computer.
Oh, okay.
Each one for a different cryptid. I don't no idea where that went, and it sort of makes me sad now
So
that we're doing
was
this.
it like based on just individual like species?
I would basically like pick one. I had like a list of them, so I'd pick one, and I'd do a bunch of research on the internet, watch like series about it. Like there's like a documentary or a show about it. I try to watch that, gather my own information, and basically fill out like a, the characteristics of it, and like where the history of it. Just basically making
so you create your own catalog.
Yeah, basically a catalog of all the different cryptids.
Is there any of them that just sounded real interesting and just different?
There is one. I'm trying to actually remember what it is right now, so I'm sort of Googling.
Oh, okay, okay. I
my
figured that's
Wi-Fi's
what you're doing. I wasn't sure.
Wi-Fi's not great here.
Sorry.
It's just I'm not connected.
Yeah, down in the basement, it's a little hard to get signal.
But it's from Michigan, so it's one from my home place. I'm trying to dig it up right now. So if you got anything,
well,
while I try to look this up.
So I guess I'll go into some of the things that I always thought was kind of, going back into the Bigfoot. I've never quite understood why people found such a big fascination with Bigfoot. I don't know. For some reason, Bigfoot and Yeti, I've always thought was kind of really far-fetched.
Yeah.
I mean, so the original picture that came out with Bigfoot just walking through the woods, that was kind of cool. But then as we got more modern, can analyze stuff and more pictures emerge, you can start seeing how fake it is, Yeah,
I think once it starts getting big, a lot of people are going to fake it.
I think
they did.
The issue I have always had with it all is the two-legged walking species always just seemed extra fake to me. I don't know why. It just looks too human to me. And I was like, nah, that's a guy in a suit. That's got to be.
There's a lot of potential for that, and all the pictures are so blurry.
Yeah. Although in the intro video I showed you, there was the one picture of the Yeti, which is this big monster up on a mountain, and that looked legit. It didn't walk on no two legs. That thing looked legit.
Yeah. Okay, so I found it. Or Rouge, which is French for red dwarf. Demon of the Strait. So.
Is that what the name means?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's I'm gonna read through the wiki.
We're getting educated today.
It's a legendary creature of Detroit, Michigan area whose appearance is said to presage misfortune. So its origins in the early French settlement of Detroit are proposed as deriving from Norman French tales of hobgoblins, and along with Native American legends of impish offspring to the stone god. So that's sort of where the
that's so random
of it comes from. Yeah,
but and that somehow sprung up in Michigan now.
Yeah, so it's like this.
Well, maybe not like now.
The
But
tails.
it is a thing there now.
Well,
'Cause,
it
like-
was because there was sightings of it. Basically, mean disaster. So if it's seen, there's disaster, and there have been a few disasters with sightings recorded.
Does that include like leprechauns?
It might be.
Like, you know, if you see a leprechaun, there's a pot of gold nearby or something like that. Which I never thought of leprechauns as cryptozoology kind of thing, but I don't know. You getting into some of the things that this thing derived from, which kind of makes me curious.
Yeah.
So that's one that kind of sparked your interest, though.
Yeah.
Is that just because it's from Michigan?
Around the area and like the stories that comes with it. So, one of the appearances, July 30th, 1763, before the Battle of Bloody Run, where 58 British soldiers were killed by Native Americans from Chief Pontiac's tribe. So supposedly they saw it dancing around the banks
Huh.
before it happened, and then the river turned red with blood for days after. So apparently, like, they were camping and they had seen signs of it. They saw it, like, supposedly, and then they got massacred. Another one where it didn't show it on there. I read it before, but some guys were working on like telephone poles, doing like electrical stuff, and it's in the winter, and they saw something dancing around on one of the wires.
So these things just pop up and dance, or
Yeah. And then that night, like, Detroit had one of its like biggest blizzards in the world, causing like millions of dollars worth of damage and tons of deaths.
jeez.
So like, really, this is more because like it's from home. So
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not from Detroit, but it hits in my
But like those disasters did happen.
yeah,
and this
actual
thing's been-
disasters, and they spotted it, and
Yeah.
then so that one just always intrigued me. I always had interest in that
That's
one.
interesting. No, I was kind of going to go into my my favorite of dragons, right?
All right.
But kind of tying into something else that I've heard from somebody before. So I always kind of was curious if they eventually did find bones of dragons. I don't think they have, as far as I understand. But
Yeah, I've not heard of any.
you know how we find like dinosaur bones?
Yeah.
I was talking to somebody once, and they were talking about how they don't think dinosaurs ever existed. How those bones have been buried by like the government or something to spark up something. I was like, that's interesting.
That is an
That's
interesting theory.
Yeah, so I know it's
Can
kind
we
of
get this guy on to talk about this?
like, hey, let's talk about dinosaur bones and how they're fake. But it made me kind of just think about like dragons and stuff. It made me think like I wonder if dragons and dinosaur bones like somehow they're like the same thing. You know, just kind of like not entirely real. They're just thrown out there or something.
Maybe they put the bones together wrong just to derive us. It's actually really dragon bones, not dinosaur bones.
Maybe. I know my brain is like going from all kinds of different areas, but I was like, I wonder if like, what if dinosaurs or some cryptozoology thing, sort of, you know?
Yeah.
Like you have a bunch of people like faking these bones so they can't really prove that they ever really existed or something, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they're trying to find like actual evidence.
I was
Kind of like how people like take fake pictures of like Bigfoot, but maybe there's that one that's real. So people are like out trying to find it all or something. I don't know.
I was listening to another podcast a few months ago, and they were talking about dinosaur bones.
Really?
And how there were these, it was like, I don't know if it was a book or a documentary. I'd have to go back and find it. But basically there was these two archaeologists, and they were fighting for like the number one spot. One of them was making up fake dinosaurs.
Huh.
And throwing the bones together to make it look like dinosaurs. So there's like a bunch of dinosaurs at one point that were completely fake because this dude just made them up to
Jeez.
beat the other archaeologists.
I'd be so mad. Oh, yes. I've heard this story before.
Okay.
But I don't remember all of it. So
Yeah,
but
all I remember is like there was two archaeologists faking bones.
Yeah,
At least one of them
'cause
was.
they were competing.
Yeah. It's like, so, I mean,
And
it's
then like, well,
potential.
didn't they take real bones and just kind of threw them together to try to make a full dinosaur or something?
Yeah, you just throw in random bones they found
Yeah.
to make dinosaurs. So, I mean,
So there's certain dinosaurs that don't really exist.
yeah, they're just made up by this dude.
Yeah.
So, that's a cool theory.
I don't know. For some reason, like my thought of like dragon bones and thinking of dinosaur bones, I was like, oh, wouldn't that be weird if
Now, see-
dinosaurs fell in that same category.
I can see potential for dragons. I mean, you got all these like, the Komodo dragon. I mean, it's not like dragon,
yeah.
but they're like these things that are like
The
so
hardest
close, but-
part about a dragon is its ability to fly.
yes.
As we've
That's-
got, so I watch a lot of like CGI videos,
Mm-hmm.
and one of the things that people point out is the wings aren't big enough to carry a body that big.
Yeah.
So that's one of the issues with like dragons is that they're so massive, like they would need a huge wingspan.
Yeah. Unless
Unless
it wasn't really like wings, but maybe like they had these armies back in the medieval times trained Komodo dragons, but launched them out of catapults. So people were thinking, "Oh my God, it's a flying dragon," but really, it's just a Komodo dragon being launched from a catapult.
I love the way you think sometimes.
It's our
You know
new-
what? Maybe that's possible. I don't know if Komodo dragons were discovered around that time period though. I mean,
I don't know,
maybe.
but I mean, that'd be. I mean, if I saw something like that flying at me,
Why not just tape like wings to a snake and just launch that?
we could.
Okay, so what's weird though is how outreached dragons are in different cultures that aren't
Mhm.
connected.
Yeah.
I mean, you got your medieval dragons.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know much about the history behind a lot of this stuff, so maybe it makes sense and how these things connected. Maybe like one got from another culture or whatever. But as far as I know, they're all separate. So you got your medieval era where you have your Romans and whatnot, and it's probably not during that time, but they have their dragons. But then you also have the Asians and their dragons.
And they're completely different.
They're
too.
different, true, but they're still dragons,
Yeah.
which it kind of makes you wonder if like they are real.
Could
That'd be something cool that I would enjoy.
Well, I know like a lot of the dragons from like medieval stuff, were either like from mountains or when they get caught, they are kept in mountains.
Yeah.
And then like the bones would have been used for like weapons or decoration. So maybe like
Or maybe
I mean, there's a
dragons
lot
are
of-
from a moon.
yeah, they look like the dragons. They come down here.
Sorry, I know I keep looking over at the screen. I'm like seeing if it like crashed or whatever,
Yeah.
which I think it probably did. Oh well. Anyways, but yeah, so I don't know. Maybe dragons are some obviously for some reason they're not around. I
But they're in a
don't
lot-
think they have any proof, but it's still a possibility.
They're in a lot of different cultures, which makes it interesting.
When I watched the video that talked about cryptozoology, the guy who does a lot of the study, he was actually really cool because he's saying it's not about it being a myth or whatever. It's about trying to figure out the truth,
Yeah.
and that's really what it is. Is like you have these hidden animals, right?
Mhm.
This thing people are talking about, and they go out and they try to either prove its existence or prove that it's fake. Loch Ness Monster, that famous picture has been proven to be fake.
Yeah.
But that doesn't necessarily mean Loch Ness Monster isn't real.
It's just evidence we have
Yeah.
is not.
And it's kind of cool that these scientists kind of go out of their way to try and explain these things. And then you talked about the Kraken earlier. I mean, they've kind of found things that
Are similar
support
enough.
it, but, maybe people exaggerated their tales.
And
to
that's
fit
another
something.
thing too. Yeah, a lot of tales can be exaggerated. When you're in a state of like, say, you're walking in the woods and you run into what you think is a Bigfoot,
Yeah.
you're gonna come back. You're scared. You're, in a different state of mind. When you're retelling the story and giving details, it's gonna be exaggerated.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. There's this giant squid thing just came out of the water and just grabbed us and pulled us in. Is Moby Dick considered a cryptozoology creature?
I don't know. I don't know if that was more of like a
Like, because it's
based on a real.
You know what? I'm gonna say it is because
Alright.
I mean, you got Moby Dick, and then you got Jonah and the whale.
Mhm.
Like these tales talked about this giant whale that just swallows things whole and destroys
Yeah.
things. It's possible.
And see, that's what I like about some of them is like the stories are in different cultures, different
That's what's
histories,
weird.
which makes it like okay,
There must be some
this,
truth.
there's got to be something. If they're talking about it in here, on this part of the world, and they're talking over here, this part of the world,
But that's what I'm kind of curious about with like dragons. I was like, I don't know if this one at some point someone stole some of it from someone else, like that one traveler or whatever. I don't know. As far as I know, they're separate.
Mm-hmm.
Which, if they're separate, that's crazy.
Yeah. Just makes you wonder. That's what I think the excitement.
I think that's the thing is when it's maybe that's like the whole Yeti and Bigfoot. You know, they for the most part they're
Pretty
kind of
similar.
isolated in one kind of culture area.
Mm-hmm.
Versus, I don't think Europeans really believe in that kind of this species too much.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because I think Bigfoot is
Bigfoot's
a
more
North American thing.
USA and Canada.
Yeah.
Or like Yeti is like the Himalayas.
Yeah.
And stuff like that.
So I don't foresee like any of those other countries really believing in them. They're probably like, yeah, they're just full.
I mean,
of
but
crap.
there's in a lot of countries, like every country has their own
Like El Chupacabra.
cryptid. Yeah, everyone's got one. That's the thing. Anywhere in the world, there's going to be one.
Yeah.
Some type of cryptid, some type of unexplainable thing that people have witnessed in either, past, present, or historical stuff. Like,
I thought you were gonna say future.
well, I mean, yeah, it's going to be seen in the
Past,
future.
present, future.
I
okay.
caught myself there. I was thinking like past, present, future. Like, no, we haven't
That
seen it
doesn't
yet.
make any
That's
sense.
the future. I mean, we probably will see it in the future. Stuff like this. I mean, it's something that, like, you see a rise and fall in the trends too.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that always interested me is there's a rise and fall in all the different trends of the spottings of them. So like, out of nowhere, more Bigfoot sightings are going to appear, but then it's going to drop off again for who knows how long. But then it'll pop up again.
Yeah. Is it still really big, or is it kind of dropped off? Because I haven't heard much about it.
Yeah, it's been sort of dropped off for a while,
Okay.
I think. But
I'm kind of curious on what modern ones have appeared, because it seemed like they come in spurts where a bunch of different creatures appear,
yeah,
right? And the stories start going, and then they fade, and then a new set appears. So I'm just kind of curious, like, what is the 2019 cryptozoology species? I think with modern technology and everybody having these fancy phones, super high res cameras, it's really hard to.
Yeah, I mean, you'd be able to easily get a picture of
Yeah,
it.
like, you get a good picture. You can easily tell what is a fake.
Yeah.
I mean, heck, they got like Photoshop is way too crazy. I think it's been photoshopped
Yeah.
versus back in like early 1900s or 1800s, and like even before then, like drawings. Like it's like harder to like say if something's been like faked or not.
Those just Photoshop pictures.
Back in
Photoshop
the
paved.
day.
Those are Photoshop paved cave paintings.
But like like nowadays, if you don't believe something, it's photoshopped. Versus back
Yeah.
then, it's more like,
Burn the witch.
Maybe yeah, burn the witch.
Now, and what's funny though, like a lot of these cryptids on here, looking through like lists and pictures of them, they all can look very similar to creatures we have
Oh yeah,
nowadays.
yeah, maybe
You know,
slightly different, in
Or
some
like
kind of
maybe
form.
something that we saw as like a
Bigger.
dinosaur.
Yeah,
So like some of the water ones look more like they could be dinosaurs. So maybe it was just a dinosaur, maybe a few, like I said, in the oceans and stuff, 85% unexplored.
yeah, that's true.
There could be just like these sweet sea-dwelling creatures that live far below where we can't get to, and maybe every now and then
They just come
it
up.
come up. That's a very high potential because the ones that are seen resemble prehistoric dinosaurs. A lot of the creatures out there, like there's one that's like a giant like anteater sloth type thing, which was in prehistoric times.
Hmm.
And now some of them though, like basically it's just like a giant version of like a creature we have now. So like I mean, we have incidents with like humans that are like 7-8 foot tall, which is just not normal.
Yeah. The
What's
giants.
to say creatures, animals don't have that possibility to do that as well. So we're just seeing this, it's just like a really big centipede, but we're thinking it's a crazy
Funny.
bug creature.
You mentioned like tall humans, right?
Mhm.
So I was sitting there thinking like Cyclops,
Yeah.
tall humans, one eye. I was wondering like, what if like there's just one person that was kind of like that, and they breeded, and they just so happen to have a few kids.
Yeah.
Like,
But
oh, now you
potential.
got these Cyclops, but
Yeah.
maybe one day they. I don't know if have they proven Cyclops? That it's
I
like a
haven't
real
done
thing or not?
too much looking into like the Cyclops, Minotaur thingies.
Those stuff, like they interest me a lot. Again,
Yeah.
I've never believed any of it, but
That's
like,
cool. Like the Minotaurs, like
yeah,
those are crazy.
I don't want to know if that's real, like how that happened.
No,
Could you?
no, definitely don't want to. That's
Who have you been breeding with?
Centaurs walking up like, ooh, boy.
Who's the mother?
You have your father's tail.
Yeah, that'd be really awkward.
It would be.
But yeah, no. I've always wondered about that kind of stuff. I was trying to find like if there was a modern cryptozoology thing. I couldn't really find anything other than just your
Same
typical
ones.
special species that they've proven high res pictures. Like, yeah, this is really a thing.
Yeah, as I think you see like these same ones from back in the day. Like it's just same ones repeating and repeating and repeating. So
Yeah.
there's just a consistency here with them. Like it's they may get maybe told differently here and there. I think maybe some of them are just sort of different adaptions of a different one. But I don't
We'll
know.
have to bring someone on that can talk about vampires and werewolves.
Yeah,
Because I
those
know,
ones
like
are
in high school,
interesting.
there was this chick that like highly believed in that kind of stuff.
And we're not talking about the Twilight vampires and werewolves.
I mean, they might be. You're like,
Vampires
no,
don't sparkle.
Okay, so people poke fun. It was a cool idea. Like,
It is an
the
interesting
idea
concept.
of a sun hitting you, and what if like the sun did hit and it was like scaly? I mean, the sparkly was a little much, but like
Could
like
just be like a ginger
the ginger.
walking out in the sun, like I'm sorry to any ginger fans that might have been offensive.
Yeah,
no,
but
it is a very
I think that there are people that follow a vampire culture where they do drink blood, though.
yeah.
Stuff, like I would think of. That's
I know
like a
there is
legit
like
cult.
cultures that are like that.
Yeah.
Like, especially for vampirism. I don't know about werewolves. That'd be sort of hard to follow.
I would love to be a werewolf.
Yeah.
Like,
Trying to just
I wouldn't be as hairy, clearly, but it'd be kind of cool if I could like get like hairy and just like walk around on all fours, and
that'd be pretty cool. Yeah.
I don't know if I wouldn't want to be a Bigfoot.
I don't know if I had to choose. I don't know who I would choose. I mean,
I have
It's
a,
sort
I
of
have a
in between.
serious fear of water, so nothing aquatic for me.
yeah. Well, we're talking about like vampire and werewolf.
Well, I mean, yeah, but like any cryptozoology animal, like
Yeah.
if you were to be one, which one would you be?
So, I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know. I don't know if I'd want to pick that life. 'cause
You'd,
then you have to be
you'd
hiding
pick vampire,
secret.
wouldn't you?
Well, I'm debating, but like if we're doing the vampire werewolf debate,
Okay.
like, yeah, werewolf would be cool. You act like a normal human, except for when the full moon's out, then you're just savage beast tearing things up. Unless you're thinking of the ones where you can transform at will, or are you
Well,
talking
we'll
werewolf that really only transform during the full moon?
we'll keep it the classic with like full moon only.
Because for then, most of your life you're normal.
Yeah.
But then those few, whenever the full moon comes up and those few days around it, you're just a savage beast going crazy. And that's, I mean, yeah, you can live like sort of
Yeah,
a
go in
basic
beast
life. And I think werewolves aren't like immortal. Really. Like they don't have like,
No, like what vampires?
yeah, like vampires, they're more or less immortal.
I don't know if I'd want to be immortal on Earth though.
I think that'd be interesting. Which, I mean, it could explain a lot of these actors that look like famous paintings.
Oh,
You've seen those.
They're time travelers.
No, I think they might just be vampires
They're
who would just
vampires.
change their name and stuff every now and then.
I'm trying to think of a recent famous one.
Oh, there's been a few of them pop up.
Yeah, I remember seeing one.
can't
I was
remember.
like, that person looks legit
No.
like that person.
If you ask me, I think something's up with Anthony Hopkins because he started making movies when he was old, and that was like a million years ago. Love him, great actor, but come on, guy, tell me your secret. And
So you don't
God
know
bless
which,
Betty White's heart.
you don't know which
I love her to death too, but
You don't know which animal you'd want to be.
honestly, like, I'd almost say vampire just for the fact I think it would be cool. Like, I would hate it.
The sparkly kind, right?
No, not sparkly. It's like, I'd have issues because I'm not a night person, but I'd have to be out at night. But I think it'd be cool just to see how the world progresses.
Okay.
Being able to live and just see how the world changes.
I get you. Fine.
That would be-
You can
that
be the
would-
vampire. I'll be the werewolf.
That would be why I'd pick vampire. Just so I could see how things progress.
I love how none of us like picked one of those other ones.
Well, I was just sort of trying to stay with the vampire werewolf.
Oh, okay.
I guess that's how we started.
No. If you could pick any of them, any of the cryptozoology species.
I don't know.
It's funny. I would have said a dragon, but like no. I definitely want to keep my human form.
Yeah, I mean that's the biggest thing. Like, yeah, it's human form. Like we have the ability to be a human still. Wouldn't know how I'd want to feel like being like a creature.
Yeah.
Like a animal type. Thing.
El Chupacabra, where you're really a ravaged dog, just sniffing butts.
Or
eating
walk
things.
around as the Mothman,
Oh, that was one of the other pictures used in the intro. Mothman. I didn't even know it was a thing.
Really?
Yeah.
That thing was so big. That's like West Virginia. That's all up Virginia. They're all about the Mothman.
That's the picture was taken of it on a bridge, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I saw that and I was like, Mothman, really? And then I was going through it and I was like, I'm interested. That's kind of cool. Not gonna lie. I hope it's a superhero.
Isn't there a Mothman superhero?
Just thinking of a guy just dressed up as Mothman.
No, I mean,
jumping
like,
off a bridge.
Really,
like, yeah.
comic book wise, isn't there like a Mothman?
I don't know. It probably is it based on the legend,
I don't know. Maybe whoever wrote it stole the legend.
or did someone steal the writing to create another legend?
I don't know. Or maybe the legend was created from the comic book.
Oh man.
Or the comic book was created back in like the medieval time. The first comic book was the Mothman. But then someone stole it, turned it into a legend because comics weren't a thing back then. So people thought it was actually just like a history book. Really, it was some kid drawing like a comic book out of his imagination. The first comic book turned into a myth, the legend of the Mothman, and from there, this is where we're at, talking about Mothman.
Here we are. We're on a podcast talking about Mothman.
There's a very huge gap there, but sometimes that's how history works. Huge gaps.
So I was originally kind of wanted to look at like the history of some of these things and figure out like its past.
Yeah.
I don't know how to go about that because there's so much just random writings.
Well, a lot of it's just folklore and tales. That's the thing.
Yeah,
like,
passed down word to mouth for a long time.
From generation to generation. It's really hard to actually look up and have an actual idea of a history of any of these because...
But it'd be really cool to like see like, well, I know like modern interpretation of these things are very different from what it was originally meant to be. So it'd be kind of cool if like we could find like the original writing or something of some of these more older folklores or and then find out like maybe we could prove it real, but something a little bit different than what we expected.
Yeah.
Because I mean, if you think of like zombies have changed a lot over the years.
Oh yeah, and they're like could potentially
because it used to be just the undead.
Yeah.
And now it's like some
Zombie.
virus that's mutated a human, made him like ravaging humans super strong.
And I think we've mentioned this before, but scientists have had that go ahead to try to bring the dead back to life.
Yeah.
Using, stem cell research. So there is a potential for zombies. Real life, actual.
Is that going to be a part 2 of this?
Yeah, when we're
Cryptozoology
zombies.
proven. Zombies are real.
When we're zombies doing this podcast.
Yeah. All right, is there anything else you want to bring up on the cryptozoology?
I mean, I can go on like a bunch of other ideas. Like, we could. I think we should do another part 2. Do a lot more research. Maybe get like an idea of do like.
I like it. I really do like listening to people tell me their views and explaining these things. Cause
maybe we could.
Like I said, I don't personally believe any of it.
Mm-hmm.
Really, like I used to kind of believe a few, but like now I'm older, I'm like, it's all baloney. But it'd be kind of cool to like listen to people's point of views and like really just like educate me.
Yeah. So if any guest or any listener wants to be a guest and actually has some cryptozoology experience or knowledge, let us know.
Yeah.
You can be on. You can try and change Jeff's mind.
Yeah, please. Actually,
because I am Like, I'm on board. Like, I can go both ways. I think I want them to be real, but I also am more logical thinking and think that, yeah, they're probably fake and can be proven. But
But if
somebody
you have
needs
like a
his mind
hardcore
changed.
fan, like a
Yeah.
hardcore fan, that'd be kind of interesting to see like how far they could push like certain things.
Yeah. So let us know if you want to be on this episode. We will do a Cryptozoology Part 2, and you can try and change Jeff's mind.
Well, yeah,
It did quit
Cryptozoology
doing
changed
stuff.
Jeff minds.
It quit moving.
Yeah, it always does that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Skip
Anyways.
the screen. Don't look at the screen. Don't look at the screen.
All right. Anyway, so that was the. We're gonna go ahead and close this off. If you guys want to get started on your own podcast, you guys can jump on to Buzzsprout. We've actually have a link for them. They give you a $25 gift card to do whatever if you guys want. Check it out. We have a link down below.
And as always, you can find us on Spotify, Google Podcast apps, and iTunes and other Apple podcast apps, as well as I think here eventually we'll be on a few others. We'll announce those when we get there by just looking Brothers by Law, our Brothers by Law podcast on these different sites. You'll find ways to listen to us. We're also on YouTube. You have our Facebook, a Twitter, and of course we do have a Patreon. So if you like our show and you want to support us, jump on there at patreon.com/bblpod. We have 2 tiers, a $1 and a $5 tier. We will eventually be adding more and more stuff to rewards for the tiers, like these handy dandy stickers.
Yep.
So jump ahead and get on that. That's all I got to plug.
All right. We'll guys catch you next week with our next episode.
Till then.
Later.